Good day, everyone. Welcome again on this platform. It's a wonderful time again to have these conversations. And this is Tech Rounds on Tech Build Africa. And just a few days back, we had this very interactive and insightful conversation with Mark Kleiner, the co-founder of Dream VC. And I'm very sure we had a lot of insights from that moment. And a lot of persons got opportunities thanks to the founders and thanks to the insights from Mark. And yes, today we are back again. Like I said, it's value back to back. And this time we are having these very interesting conversations around the talent and local innovation, building local innovation and positioning it for global audience. And yes, it's going to be very, very interactive. So if you are joining this event, you're joining this session, share this link on every social media platform that you are on. Share it with your friends who are trying to transition into tech, or that innovator who is building something in the African ecosystem and is looking to project to the global stage. It's going to be a very wonderful and insightful one. So remember, this is how you can join the conversation on the comment boxes. If you are watching streaming from YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, or X, you can just drop your thoughts and your questions on the comment section, and we'll do justice to that. So today I will be bringing up a very, very innovative person, an entrepreneur, an IT strategist in the ecosystem, and no other person than Mr. Charles Emembolu. Hello, Mr. Charles. Good to have you on the platform today.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be dialing in from. Um, I hope you can see me.
Yes, I can see you.
All right, excellent. So it's
Okay,
interesting.
you
I'm
might need to
happy.
speak up a bit. Your sound is a bit low.
Okay, I'm happy to be here, Emmanuel, and I welcome all those that have logged on. And I'm looking forward to having a great show, an interesting conversation. And also, the topic for the day is an area I'm very, very much passionate about, and that makes it all the more exciting. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So, just a little bit of who Mr. Charles is before he actually does that. So, Mr. Charles is a thoroughbred professional with over 16 years cognate experience in the areas of telecommunications, IT strategy, project and change management, and business transformation and entrepreneurship. So, he commenced his career in the telecommunications sector with the stints at Bodex Telecoms and GS Telecoms, now Vodacom. And it might also interest you to know that Mr. Charles here is the Director of Partnerships at the ISN Hub, that's Innovation Support Network here in Nigeria, that have a vast network of innovation hubs in the country. And yes, he is also the convener of the just concluded Omniverse Summit event, which was very, very a big one for the ecosystem. So over to you, Mr. Charles. Who are you and what are you building in the ecosystem? I think your mic is muted. We cannot hear you.
Yes, that's what we call technology
Okay.
malfunction.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, so sometimes it's a bit of a dilemma saying exactly what I do because I consider myself a serial and social entrepreneur. But over the last 10 years, a lot of my work, of course, from a background of IT network, IT architecture, system support, and also telecoms infrastructure, I've come to kind of wrap all of that up around building, supporting, and developing talent. So this is what my life's work has become across different organizations, and much recently, Dexude, where we are currently supporting organizations that build and develop talent, removing the barriers that enable them to develop talent at scale, quality talent at scale, and enabling them have access to decent work.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Charles, for that brief introduction. Yes, you're always seeing where value is needed, and you've been offering us that back to back. Thank you very much. And we'll just go in straight to the questions. But before then, I've already given us some tips of what our conversation is going to be like today. So we are actually looking at exploring the local skill and ideas and how they can be nurtured to meet up with the global standard. So in as much as we want to promote local skills, talents, and innovation, we must ensure that it is something worthy to be sold to the global stage, and that is what we're going to look at during this session. We will also uncover the secrets to building international quality innovation, while also ensuring that innovative ideas from this local wherever we promote it. So that is the conversation for today, and we have the key talking points around scaling from local to global, rather, and then the partnerships to actually power these ideas, and then platforms and support systems for the growth of local talents and innovation. So, okay, straight to the first question, Mr. Charles, and this is about your journey and how you started up in the ecosystem. Okay, so how did your early experiences in telecommunications shape your approach to IT and innovation?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be who I am today without those experiences I had. Starting with Bodex Telecom, where I started work um, more like an intern whilst schooling. We did have a lot of strikes back in the day, and I was fortunate enough to work with the technical team there, setting up a lot of the cell sites that they had across southeast and south Nigeria, which was way back in the 1998, 99, 2000s, before GSM era. And what you would interest you to know is that a lot of those technical resources came from Canada and a lot of Francophone Africa, who happened to have telecoms and GSM much before we did. And it was very exciting because what I was opportune to learn from working with them was not easily available out there in Nigeria, even in the corporate sectors. We had a few competitors then, like Intercellular, and then I think eventually Starcoms, if I'm correct in that order. But they were still they still had minimal operations. Of course, there was Nitel, which was already a bit comatose at the time and struggling to be professional enough, which is why they died as a government monopoly. But my work with Bodex Telecom enabled me to learn, and I understood the power of skilling, the power of talent, the disadvantages of having some element of intelligence, education, but not being able to have opportunity to learn, especially technology skills. After my stint at Bodex Telecom and after I graduated from school, I did a little bit of work for them, but I did join GS Telecom. And in GS Telecom, we had an experience where we had Dave, who I think is Canadian American, and Dave would take us on Thursdays through learning. It was almost like we were working, but we were in school. So we were taught all the things around the VSATs, the cell sites, the different types of radios. And we did write tests at the end of those. And I'm talking about in a pure work setting, where on Thursdays you would go into a room and somebody will teach you, but it's no longer teaching you from an academic point of view. It's teaching you about actual technology and this is something that I think is still lacking largely amongst the corporates. And at the time, GS Telecom wasn't such a massive organization. I think it's now Inc. It's migrated from GS Telecom, Vodacom, and eventually I think it's called Inc. now because I think their MD, I know their current MD. And this organization has evolved over the years and played a very deep role in even supporting the GS Telecoms carry traffic across the country. And then they needed talent. They needed people that understood how to manage their equipment, local resources. And imagine how much it would have cost if they continued having all of this talent coming internationally.
Yeah.
So I was a beneficiary of that. And these are early experiences, even before I switched to the financial services, where I still did technology, all came together to enable me start thinking that if people do not have the skills that they need, then it will be very difficult for us to achieve our personal goals, company goals,
Yeah.
and the national goals, even as a country.
All right. Thank you very much. That's a very interesting journey so far, and I mean, it's all boils down to the fact that nothing comes so easy. So for every successful man or woman you see out there, you should know that there has been some hard work in the background, and I'm very happy you've had such will I say, a roller coaster journey, and then you were here doing the best and coaching others to take up some footsteps. So thank you very much. And to the next question now, we're talking about local talents now and innovators. So, what are the key ingredients that would help us to push and move local talents to the global stage? What are the key ingredients that are needed?
There are a few. The first thing is the skill, the required skill. We are in very wonderful times, especially from anybody from places like African continents like Nigeria, because there's a huge talent deficit. What does this mean? If you come to a country, most of the developed countries, they have single digit unemployment rates. It means that there's reduced incentive for people to learn new skills because they can easily get jobs with the skills that they have. If you come close to Nigeria, at least as of December 2022, we are 30%. I think we should be close to 40 or over that by now. 40% unemployment rates means that you are able to, you have incentive to find skills that can give you decent work. And those skills are, the skill is the very first thing. Of course, there's the tenacity required and the open-mindedness and interest to learn or actually acquire those skills. Sometimes you can't afford them. Sometimes they seem above board. You can't even understand why. But if you have open mind, if you have an open mind and you interact in the right circles and you keep your eyes open for opportunities, you will find the skills that are best suited for you. And then if you interact with organizations that provide these skills in a way and manner that it is easy to understand, customized to your learning opportunities or infrastructure challenges, then it becomes easier. But beyond the skill is also that ability to understand where the opportunities lie and tie it to your personal or peculiarities. For instance, if you are in a remote part of Nigeria and you want to bring out your talent, it is important to learn something that you can learn virtually if you have access to internet.
Yeah.
Sometimes all of us do not have to travel or relocate to the big cities to work in 2024. So being able to decipher that is also very, very important. There are quite a few others, including the resources you may have available to you, but the skills matched with your tenacity and interest to learn is, I think, the paramount one that makes it important, that makes it successful, that make you successful.
All right. Thank you very much. And just in line with this, I want to quickly chip this in. We're talking about the global audience now, and then we have skilled person in in those areas. And what do you think is happening in the global stage that is not happening here? I mean, we have great talent. When you talk about Africa, you talk about Nigeria in particular, you see that we have great talent and innovators. So what is putting us back? Do you think there is anything that we are not doing, or are we already there on the global stage? But what are we not doing right now that we need to step up the gas and say, okay, we need to start doing ABC so that we can actually meet the global standard?
Who is we? Nigerian individuals, the ecosystem, or government? I can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Better. Who is we?
Okay, I'm talking about the local talents now, the innovators and the skill sets we have in the ecosystem.
By all means, I think they are doing so well. I have had so many personal success stories I can attest to. I think that more needs to be done by the establishments, by the organizations, by the corporates, by government, by the schools. The average Nigerian individual talent is doing so well. I mean, most of them are above average. The only thing I will add to what they are doing today is to be more deliberate. There's a lot of distractions
Okay.
in our environment, and it's already challenging enough with infrastructure deficits, power, internet, and a whole host of others. So the main thing is you have to be extra focused, and focus is not just on the money, but on the knowledge. Because if you acquire the knowledge, the money will come. I know this is very difficult if you have an empty tummy, or
Okay.
if you're the only potential breadwinner in your family, or you don't even have a
All right. Thank
laptop.
you very much. So,
Go ahead, please. Emmanuel, I
okay. All
can't
right.
hear you.
Thank you very much. So we've seen that you mentioned being very deliberate and being very focused on whatever they're doing, and I think that drives home the point. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So to the next one. So what were some standout ideas from the Omniverse Summit that can help local entrepreneurs? I know you are the co-convener of that very impactful event. So what are some of the standout ideas from that event that can help local entrepreneurs?
The very first thing is that look beyond your area of interest. Most sectors are very closely connected if you look deeply. A typical DJ probably thinks that he is a music professional, but most of the things he works with is tech. The guy in the movie industry thinks, oh no, I'm a movie professional, but he's very closely related to tech. A software developer thinks I'm in the tech ecosystem, but he's probably able to also build for some of the creative sectors, gaming, just call it. So I think that the greatest lesson out of the Omniverse is the cross sectoral participation, and the fact that it presents a lot of opportunities beyond our immediate area of um, knowledge or interest. So it is very important that whilst we engage as talent, that we look beyond our noses and see a bit further, because we discovered that for whether it's the gaming, the music, the fashion, the different sector, even government, even the development organizations. We did have a diversity of them from different countries, different continents. And one thing we discovered is that all of them need talent. All of them require talent. So we need to be very, very deliberate and open-minded in engaging with the different sectors to be able to deploy our talent in the right way and for best effects and for best rewards as well. So I think that's the greatest take home. We did have different sectors, whether it's in the business side where we had the deal room and you had startups pitching their solutions or businesses, but we also had the Dexude anchored career center where we did see different career professionals share insights. I mean, way back about 15 years ago, I think even the corporate organizations in Nigeria didn't see why they needed a digital marketing team. They had corporate communications, but they didn't understand it. Today, I do get at least 5 to or more calls every week with somebody, small business, mid business, large business, asking me about needing a digital presence, asking for digital marketers. So that is a thing. I think as we speak, there are new professions that are being created that didn't exist even last year. One of them is probably the area of AI, because I think with the open AI and the predominance of artificial intelligence being embedded in systems and solutions, websites, and all, increasingly people are going to even need to have more knowledge and utilize it in their respective business endeavors. So it will no longer be that thing for big tech or big corporate to use to take decisions or for analytics or insights. It becomes something that even small organizations, because everyone is being democratized. I mean, I use open AI every day to do basic research, just insights and stuff like that. So, and it's becoming embedded, just like we are doing at the Exude as well. So, I think these are
Yeah.
the areas of interest that we discovered or confirmed. And I think people, talent should look out for that, and corporates as well.
Yes, so both talents and corporates should really look out for this. Speaking of AI, I remember AI was really, really a dominant display during that event, and I think people should really draw clues from that and see how they can really function with the presence of AI. AI is taking every talking stage today, and different platforms are beginning to integrate AI solutions to their products, and that's great. All right, to the next question that we have here. So, how can local tech companies expand their reach and influence globally? So, I know they could have their startup, they could have their innovation here in maybe Africa or Nigeria to be specific. So, how can they expand their reach and also solve problems globally?
The very first thing is to believe that you can. A lot of people are limited by the size of their mindsets or the scope or scale of their minds. The global being going global in 2024 has never been easier. You know, starting from incorporating a company, finding partners, having meetings like we are having. You don't even, most people here don't even know where I am or where you are. And we don't even know where the audience is joining from, meaning that we can collaborate. The collaboration opportunities exist. The data and insights to know about new regions, new businesses in different areas, email, phone, WhatsApp, you know, everything is available. So I think the only limitation is the mindset. And then the second limitation is your skill set. How global are you? Do you bother to understand international dynamics? Do you bother to understand international or global trends? Do you understand legal implications? Do you understand how to incorporate in Delaware, in Mauritius? Do you know how to find funding? Are you globally mobile? I know physical mobility is still a challenge for a lot of people, especially Nigerians, but there are ways around these things. And some of the ways include joining communities. You know, big communities exist that you can join virtually. Innovation Support Network, where I chair the board, is one of those. Where going through an innovation hub, you can access opportunities that would typically be difficult for you to do otherwise. Omniverse is another opportunity to not just situate yourself within a particular sector like innovation and tech, which ISN sits in, but also other ecosystems like gaming, culture, you know, creativity, because that then opens you up to opportunities for cross country, cross continent collaboration, interaction. And as
Yeah.
you do that more and more, you learn, you increase your network, as we say, and then eventually you have opportunities to work externally. So I think that if you approach this from an individual development standpoint and from an increasing your knowledge, global knowledge on standpoint, and also joining networks and communities that give you a global reach and can vouch for you. Because if you're talking to, for instance, you have Afri Labs on the continent, and for us, joining Afri Labs several years ago opened us up to 50 African countries as it stands today.
Wow,
Joining
that's awesome.
ISN gives you access to 30 plus states in Nigeria, and giving you that access comes with credibility and trust because you come through a vetted process and you can say, I am a member of this. And then people that were at the Omniverse over the 4 days also know that being there gave them credit, participating in one program or the other gave them a lot of credibility for the international or global participants. But not just that. we had representation from at least 49 subsectors at the Omniverse. So it meant that if you are there talking tech and somebody sees you from any of those subsectors, they provide you some kind of credibility. And many of those have international access, collaborations. We had international governments there, from the EU to the Germans, US, UK governments, and co. And their development agencies, which all aim to provide collaboration between countries and programs.
Yeah. I think really leveraging platforms like the Omniverse is very veritable to promote whatever you're building locally, because you need to be able to utilize global platforms to scale your idea. Thank you very much. And I'll just go into the messages that we've gotten so far, and we have a message from Gladys Agre. Okay, what do we have here?
Yeah, I can see it. It's not a question, it's a kudos. Thank you very much,
Okay,
Gladys.
okay, okay, okay. Exceptional leader, a trailblazer, intelligent and dedicated to his cause, and purple blue piece. Oh, okay. Thank you very much for listening in. So, just so you remember, you can always join the conversation on the comment section. If you have a question, you can always post that too, and then we can go into the conversation together. I'm not sure what that expression means, but I don't know if that is a code, but I would try to decipher that later.
Hand
All right, thank you
purple
very
blue
much.
piece. I don't know what it means. Maybe Open Chat GPT can help us.
Right, this is AI, right? The era of AI. Okay, on to the next question. So in your experience, what are the most effective strategies to identifying and nurturing local talent in the technology and innovation sector?
Hello, I can't hear you, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please repeat your question.
Okay, I said, okay, in your experience, what are the strategies that is very effective for identifying and nurturing local talent in the tech and innovation sector?
What are the what?
The strategies. How can we
Strategies.
identify and hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What are the strategies to
Yeah,
identify and
yeah,
nurturing
to
local
identify,
talent?
yes, and nurture these local talents. Yeah.
Well, I think that the identification part is the easiest part, because at the
Okay.
percentages of unemployed and underemployed people that we have, they are basically hanging around you everywhere. Your church, your mosque, your family, everywhere you go, there's a lot of unemployed people. So you can identify them. You can see them hanging around your streets. You can see them in your villages. You find them in your WhatsApp groups asking you for one thing or the other. So this is an unfortunate situation, but it is to say that they are there in abundance across the country. In terms of nurturing them, we the first things, and this is some of the work that we do here at the Exude, is being able to, first of all, not everyone can do farming. Not everyone can do not everyone can do every aspect of farming. Not everyone can act. Not everyone can do tech or every aspect of tech. So one of the greatest things that lead to success is that personality identification. So a lot of people will jump in, just give it to me, I can do it. But can you excel at it? I understand that it is fine if you can do it and you will do it, like a lot of Nigerians and Africans will do. But it's also becoming important that we begin to place people, or people place themselves in their best areas of potential success. And that's one strategy. Can programs that exist, training organizations, talent programs, begin to figure out how best to find people best suited to whatever they have on offer? Just the same way that employers also do the same in placing people in their best areas of work. There are people that work best at home. There are people that won't do much work if you keep them at home. They need to come into the office. There are people that are self starters. There are people that need structure. So, placing people in a startup, yesterday I was having a conversation in terms of a starter a young tech starter, talent, who, what choice would they take between working for a startup or a corporate? Those decisions are very critical. Back in secondary school, they would call it some kind of guidance counseling. Not everyone must do sciences versus arts. What are the career choices you make? Today, those options do not exist as much. People just jump into the next available thing because of the limited opportunities that exist. I think if we're able to flip that, then it will be very, very helpful. The second thing is to be able to identify the type of pay that you want. I say this very deliberately because sometimes you're in the wrong place asking for the right pay, if I'll put it like that. It is very important that you profile yourself, find organizations that can help with that profiling, or people, mentors and coaches are also very critical in this journey. Find yourself a coach. Find yourself a coach and a mentor. You always struggle or move slower if you don't, no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how you can learn on the fly, no matter how hard you work. If you find a coach or a mentor, that journey will be far easier. Then the other thing I would like to point out, and I've talked about it today, but it cannot be overemphasized. Get yourself in communities that can push you further. If you've ever had to learn any tech skill or business skill in your life, you will know how much different it is, how much better it is if you are learning together with a group of like minds. So if you can do that, whether you find them in your church, your playground, your mosque, your school, your alumni association, remember, the groups you find yourself in are usually broad groups. In those groups, there are people, limited number of people that have similar targets. Embed yourself in one that is positive. It will be very, very helpful and beneficial. It's a strategy to success. Then I think that there are a lot of naysayers because of some of the things that trust issues that are embedded in most of the societies like ours. But I will say that find a mechanism that works for you in trying to decipher what is real and what is not. A lot of people miss out opportunities, especially government related opportunities, because they don't believe it is true. My own personal experiences are different. I have found out that sometimes when I took a leap of faith and engaged, I typically will break through the barrier. And it is important that we continue to do so. Organizations that I've mentioned earlier, even with the Omniverse that we were able to convene, was not possible without communities and without getting naysayers out of the way and moving ahead. Then the final thing I want to say is that volunteerism is a thing, and it is a very important thing for any talent. Sometimes you will learn skills, but you may not have enough experience to get employed. You can gain that experience by volunteering. You can find mentors or coaches by volunteering. You can earn your first checks or build your profile by volunteering. We would never have been able to build ISN to where it is today without people coming together to volunteer. The leaders, the members that came together. We would never have done the same with Omniverse. I think if you are there on the last stage, you would see how we brought up. We mentioned the names of at least 29 people who volunteered. Some of them came with very limited knowledge or understanding of what it would take to build such a massive program, but they left with recognition, access to people they probably would never have talked to, experience that they would probably never have bought, that nobody would have also been able to pay them exactly outright for because they probably did not have prior experience. But now they do. I'm sure some of them will go on to utilize that, go global, do great things. And those are the kind of stories that spur people like me on. You know, I've had instances where I'm working somewhere and somebody comes to me and says, "Do you know how this program changed my life?" I think that is far, far more valuable than money. And for people that are into talent development like myself, they will attest to that fact that coaching, mentoring, supporting, or building an individual is far bigger satisfaction than most things that you can get, including money. Of course, money makes the world go round. You still need that to keep the
Yeah.
engine running, but that value keeps you going far longer than money can. So get out there, volunteer, do something, and keep moving. That would be my last few words on this.
All right. Thank you very much. Those are really, really on point. Just quickly recapping some of the things you've said. You've mentioned finding a mentor and a coach, and which is very, very important. As a young person who is growing through the ranks of the ecosystem, you most times need someone to really help you navigate or point you towards the direction that you are very good and could specialize on. Another thing is leveraging the power of communities. So if communities are where you actually get information, you get to connect with people and get to network with people. So you can be a developer and then you are not in any developers community. You can be a digital marketer and you're not joining the tribe of any digital marketers. And then wherever your skill lies or falls in, there are communities that are driving every skill set. So for us at Tech Build Africa, we have a community of tech individuals, everything technology. So we push in tech updates for you. For the founders, we push in funding opportunities, grants, and things like that. So you get to leverage some of these opportunities to do more and be more within that ecosystem. And that is what we always call people to do because it is very, very important. Okay. Thank you very much. And another thing also, you would see that most of the times we see what we've come to know as jackpot nowadays. So and it's becoming like a brain drain kind of thing. And how can we? I don't want to say discourage people from going outside the country because yeah, it's also going out to offer value and taking us to the global stage. But do you think that these jackpotting and moving out of the ecosystem is a brain drain syndrome for us, or is it about creating more opportunities for our talents to operate in the local stage?
So I think that there's enough to go around. First of all, let me state that I do not think that Japa is a problem in itself. The real problem is the scale at which we are developing talent. I see Japa as a confirmation that Nigerian and African talent is valuable to the rest of the world. And because we have the population, it is the quality of the remaining population that is really the issue. So let me leave the Japa syndrome. I also understand the fact that it is important that we retain some talent. And I think that the net positive is that whether talent leaves Nigeria to other countries or not, if we developed enough, then it wouldn't be a problem. Last year, I was in Jos on a routine community visit, and I discovered that there are two levels of Japa. There are groups of technical talents in places like Jos, Enugu, Akwa Ibom, and Co., who gather to develop themselves, and then Japa first to Lagos.
Hello.
So whilst we discuss Japa at the national level, let us also realize that there could be secondary and tertiary levels of Japa where people are moving from their locality to places where they think there's more opportunities abound or where they think they can get access to more communities. And if we look at this holistically, then we can begin to look at the reasons or the causes for this because every cause has an effect. I think the first thing is that every time I leave Lagos, in Lagos, I typically use the Glow network for my internet. And I can get by, pretty well. Once I leave Lagos to most of these cities, I suddenly have to subscribe to two or more internet devices. So that is the immediate. In fact, I've lost one or two opportunities because I wasn't in Lagos to take a call with an international partner, and then they begin to wonder if they gave me this opportunity. I mean, my company, would I be able to even have enough internet to work with them? So these are some of the challenges that make people start thinking of Japa, especially the secondary one, where they are moving from a a smaller state or a state with less opportunities than a place like Lagos to much bigger cities. And if we fix that, and this is government that can fix this, and state and federal governments together can fix this, then you start talking about other infrastructure that makes businesses stay back. And those infrastructure, security is one of them. Lifestyle. People want, I mean, if you're young and you're between the ages before 30, 35, there are certain things you would like to see. We saw a bit of that happen late 2000s to the last 5 years. We've seen that diminishing basic infrastructure. I want to watch movies, I want to go to ShopRite, I want to have the nice things of life. Are those available at cities near us like it is in places where we japa to? Because remember, people leave Nigeria and japa to some very remote cities. What happens in those cities is that they have this basic infrastructure, they have power, they have a cinema nearby, they have malls, they have things that keep people happy. And we need to provide those things. So this is a call to action for our local governments, our state governments, and of course our federal governments. Because if we do provide those things, then our people will stay back. The third thing I want to talk about is home for corporates. Growing up, I grew up in Enugu. We had 3 banks that had their headquarters in Enugu. It meant that decision-making, tech, departments and co could sit in Enugu. Today there's none. All of them are sitting in a city like Lagos. So it means that if you can't find your way to Lagos, then you have to japa, to find big companies where you can work for. Thank God for virtual possibilities. So this is now the ability to work at home or in hubs or in locations that can provide this infrastructure, power, internet, and conducive environment. And this is where you can then partner with innovation hubs, co-working spaces. At least we under ISN have presence in, I think, 31 states. So if you're close to any of those cities, that's also an opportunity to access infrastructure, find the community that can help you, and work from there for global organizations. But let me flip this conversation a little bit to corporates. They need to also open up these opportunities. They need to support local growth because it reduces their costs. It reduces their costs as well. Everybody getting on the traffic, third mainland bridge coming to VI to work is costly. Not just to the corporates, but to the society in general, to even the work hours of the individual. So being able to figure out whether you can create talent hotspots in cities or communities outside. I mean, there are university towns. You have places like Ife. In Enugu, we have 12 universities within 100 kilometers radius. That is a heaven for building talent pools, supporting them, providing infrastructure that enables them to work across board. So how do you do that? Partnership, private, public partnerships. So we need to think in that sense, and this is for business people, ecosystem people like us. But for the talent is to look out for those opportunities and latch onto them. And then if I can touch a bit of the questions I see here very quickly, because they're very related. Someone
Yeah,
is
I just
talking
wanted
about,
to put them up on the screen even.
I can see them.
I think we have, okay.
Emmanuel was talking about being a web developer. I know that in Ekiti, you have innovation hubs, you have wonderful communities, you have the government of Ekiti, the area of ICT and innovation, very, very active. I've met the guy a few times. And then you also have things like GDG, because I think we've employed someone from GDG Ekiti who currently works for Facebook Global, and he started with leading the GDG in Ekiti. So please get in touch with that, with those kind of people. GDG is Google Developer Group. They have Facebook Developer Circles or something like that. You have ISN. You can also reach out to me or any of the ISN. We have hubs in Ekiti State, innovation hubs that can give you access to communities there. You can join. Attend their events. Most times they are free events. Attend them and participate. Then I have the other guy talking about, that is Motivated Urban Life. Very interesting name. Talking about how
Interesting
to
name, right?
collaborate. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Talking about how to collaborate more effectively to create pathways for local talent to engage in international innovation projects. I think I've said it all. If you are in the right circles, you will know when those opportunities come up. When they do come up and they are not paid for you, if you can volunteer, because you get closer to the stream, to the well, to whatever it is that is the source. When you volunteer, you gather experience, you meet people, and maybe next time around. Or even I didn't share the story of how I started. My first job at Bodex was a volunteer role. They didn't have a role for
Wow.
interns. I was bored stiff with a 4 month strike. And I said, I'm available. Use me. It was from me being available every morning without a contract or salary that one day they asked me, they were looking for a driver. And I started driving pretty early. And they had a driver that didn't turn up. And I said, I have my license. I can drive the engineers to the cell site. And I did. I started by driving them as a student then, carrying their toolboxes. And then eventually they are there asking me to pan the radio, to do this, to do that. And I started learning the different tools. So volunteering remains, and I didn't even know it was a thing. I was just passionate. And I was studying engineering and I was seeing these guys tall, wearing nice jeans, t-shirts, carrying toolboxes. I felt it was so cool. So please volunteer. You can find them, take advantage. I saw someone say, I don't know where to volunteer. You have a church, go there. Instead of giving testimony, stand, take the microphone and tell them this is what you're looking for. Or a mosque, ask them. Go to your alumni association WhatsApp group. Go to those WhatsApp group where they share skits all day. Tell them exactly what you're looking for instead of laughing at their skits. You have LinkedIn. Go on LinkedIn, share what you want to volunteer on, and push it and get into people's boxes. Subscribe to LinkedIn Premium for one month. They'll typically give you a trial. Go there, find mentors and coaches or people you would like. Tell them, go in their inbox and tell them you'd like to volunteer. I'm sure you will find something within a week. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles. That's very awesome. I mean, you literally said everything that has been on my mind. So opportunities are everywhere, but we have to do extra. We have to do some extra work to identify such opportunities and leverage them whenever they present themselves. So another thing is that some we say opportunity comes once, so you have to be very, very prepared, okay, to leverage such opportunities. And how do you do that? Is to build yourself. Not when the opportunity comes, you are just about to build yourself. So you have to build yourself beforehand and be ready to jump on such opportunities. And all of these conversations still boil down back to um, leveraging communities and platforms. Yeah, we are living in a digital era. How are you leveraging all these digital platforms to promote yourself? Very, very important. So Mr. Charles has talked about going on LinkedIn to evangelize, tell the world, I'm willing to volunteer on this thing. I'm willing to have this skill. I can do this for you and I can do that for you. Very, very important. So the first person that is going to tell your story is yourself. So if you are in your shells and you're not telling your story, I don't know who is going to do that for you. Thank you very much. And then join communities. That is still coming up again. Join online communities instead of just watching them skits and laughing. Join the communities, okay? All right, thank you very much, Mr. Charles, so far. And if you're joining the session just now, this is Tech Rounds on Tech Build Africa. Yes, we are doing the most, and we always bring up innovators and thought leaders within the ecosystem to share insights and opportunities for the tech and innovation ecosystem. We really want to tell the story of this innovation, okay, in Africa. So, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching from YouTube. Follow us on all social media platforms for this kind of moments. And you can also drop your opinion, your questions on the comment section. We'll do this to that in due time. So, Mr. Charles, let's move on to the next question now. So, how should young tech professionals prepare to stay relevant in a rapidly evolving tech landscape? Because another thing is staying relevant. So how can they prepare and remain relevant, especially you have this skill already and things are changing? How do you remain relevant over time?
Well, that is simple. Even as I am, I've never used Restream until you sent it to me. I could have come back to you and say, why not Zoom? You know what I mean? So this platform is new.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, I don't know what happened. But
So,
to remain relevant, I was saying that um, tools are going to come out every day. Tech is moving faster than light. New resources are becoming available. New platforms are getting created. You have to be very, very choosy about how you spend your time. You have to use your time wisely, and you have to be around the right people. So if you do, the conversations of what's new will come up. You will learn it. You need to spend time to learn, otherwise you become obsolete. And obsolescence in the world of tech today is less than 6 months. Sometimes it can happen in three, depending on your area. If you're not careful, you will wake up and you're a grandpa. You just become lost. You can't understand what's happening. So, first of all, is that basic education gives us the skill to continue learning. What you then learn is, of course, of choice to you, where you spend your time. So, I would say if you're hanging around the right people, the more positive people, then you will learn. You will learn, you would hear what you need to learn. And when you do hear it, spend your time learning it. That is one way to do it. So it becomes very important that your choice of words, your choice of communities, your choice of people and friends, even your choice of work. Don't go working for organizations that are in dying industries. I will just advise that if you are in a place and they're not having conversations of new trends, of new dynamics of business, of new technologies, it's time to move. So once you see that they are making an effort to learn new things, you can also volunteer to be a champion of that. And that is one thing that somebody is asking. Okay, Ken Neka is asking, okay, no, Nelori is asking, when is the right time to volunteer? The right time is now. All right. There's always that new program, that new opportunity, that new technology that no one knows. And everyone is saying, we can't use this because we don't know. Volunteer to go and learn it. Because usually we learn better when we have an audience. We learn better when we can find kudos. So if you're in an organization or a community or in a family where people are saying, they now do taxes, they now file taxes online, but we can still go to their office. Volunteer to be the one that will file it online. You will have acquired a new skill. So that is the right time. And I think that is one way to remain relevant. Being able to take on new challenges and being open minded about it, and knowing that sometimes you may not get paid the first time, but if you know it well enough, then you will get rewards for it. I never really had the opportunity to look for work. My first interviews were usually the jobs I got. Most times, not even really an interview, but a referral. And that was because of things I had done before then that didn't look like much, but gave me the skills to have the right conversations because I was talking to the right people. And then it helps me or helps the people to make quicker decisions around me. So I think that's also what I would share for people to take it home. Be careful who you're spending your time with and what you're taking into your brain. I don't know if anyone can hear me, but also it's about time that visibility is very key. If you're talking to me about volunteering, then I go on your pages, social pages, and remember, visa decisions are being made now, inclusive of your social media pages. Job opportunities are being made based on that. Relationship and partnership opportunities are also being made based on that. If I come on your social media pages and you're busy cracking just non-productive jokes, or even your manner of approach or dressing or speech is non-desirable, or even the way you're clad, maybe if you're busy selling your body or selling things that are not typically socially more acceptable, But then what you're asking to volunteer for is more professional. It can affect your chances as well. At the same time, you can also use those pages as signboards, free signboards to sell your talent, your interest, your intent. And if you're intentional enough, you will get people coming to you. You will attract the right kind of people. And when you do, I've also seen a lot of entitled people. There's a lot more entitlement in the world today. Sometimes it's actually put yourself in the shoes of who you're getting entitled with, and be sure that you're getting entitled around the right things. If you're not, be very quick to correct those your impressions and get going, because eventually you will be able to demand the right price for your services. But if your aim is to first develop yourself, then you may have to sometimes volunteer, work for free, and work hard to continue learning. I will also mention that in some skills, some validation is important. Do ask for recommendations or attestation of work done. Most people will give it, but most people never ask. So if you volunteered, sometimes ask for a recommendation. It could be on LinkedIn, it could be um, a certificate, it could be a handshake, and ask the person to post it on how they worked well with you. It's also very helpful. For some people in the more traditional sectors, it could be a certification, a Cisco, a HP, or a certification body. For accountants, it could be ICANN, something that differentiates you from the pack and means that and tells people that you mean business can also be quite helpful. Thank you. Can you hear me, Emmanuel? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, we had some glitch here in the studio. All right, thank you very much. I could hear you all through, and I could hear you mentioning that people should be able to leverage their social media platforms not just to sell their bodies or just to play with it, but it should be a platform to sell your talent. I mean, it's a free media space for you. You're not paying for it. You just need to have your data and then promote yourself and your skill. Thank you very much. And I think we should just look into the message, and I think we have some messages here. I don't know if you can view that, Mr. Charles,
Yeah, I
through
will
the
take it.
comment section.
More motivated urban life asked another interesting question. What are the unique strengths and competitive advantages of local talents that can be leveraged for driving global innovation? I will speak very locally to Nigeria and Nigerian talent. We are some of the most innovative, intuitive, and tenacious talent on the face of planet Earth. It then means that one unique strength we have is that we can knock down an iron door with our tenacity if we so believe that that is a pathway to some livelihood and success. So just make sure that that counts. Whatever you do, ensure that you bring that kind of large tenacity to the table. Always, never say no, never say never. So I think that that is one major competitive advantage. As a group of people, the second competitive advantage we have is that most average Nigerian talent speaks English. fair enough English. We have some countries that compete with us in terms of talent. They don't have our numbers and they struggle with English. I mean, countries in Eastern European bloc, some of them struggle with English, and English is still the largest spoken language that across most countries that you may want to work, talking about global. So of course we have large people, I mean the Chinese, but then that is spoken widely in just a few countries. So English opens you up to so many other economies, small and big, across Europe, even across Asia, Middle East, and even the North Americas. So I think that that is a strength. Don't underestimate the power of that. But more importantly, of course, is your skill, because that's what will get you there. Then the other competitive advantage that we have is that we have so many challenges and problems as a country. There are so many things that have not yet been solved. And if you solve it, you can find a unique way of solving it. You can export it. So please look around your local environments. Don't be too quick to borrow innovation. You can borrow methodologies, but look around your environment. There can be ways of solving local problems that are peculiar to us. If you go and look at the way our societies have solved traditional problems, I was having a conversation last month. I was speaking at an event last month, and the conversation came up on our unique way of governance. And I come from a community in southeast Nigeria, which is over 600 years or so old. And they have a unique way of governance that is not democracy and is not, I mean, it's not the usual way. We have shared power systems between men and women. We have shared power systems between the monarchy and even the committee of chiefs, or whatever you call it, Ndiche. So we have our own unique systems. Please let us continue to delve deeper into those and see whether there are things we can borrow, systems we can borrow, apply technology, apply a bit of modification, and bring forth global innovation. So one of the, bringing in the context of strength and competitiveness, is to say that there are unique ways of doing things as Nigerians, Africans, that have not been globalized yet. One of the notable ones that a lot of people are talking about today is the Imwafia. It's a model of entrepreneurship and apprenticeship that is beginning to come about. But it took a guy, Robert Newit, talking about this for the thing to become of global acclaim. So how do you train talent who want to go into business? Are you only using the business model canvas that is foreign? Or are you also looking inwards to see how your people have done it over the last 100 or 200 years? So there are those opportunities. Then there are the opportunities that are even physical in terms of hardware. You know, the way we've made glass, is it the same way they are making it? The way we wrote, is it the same way they are writing? The way we make fabrics, is there something to learn in it? Is there a particular model that we can derive from it? I think we have not interrogated our local technology and science systems enough. Let us go there and see whether we can define global best practices from a position of strength, because we own it and our outlook supports it. Then we have one more where you have, yeah, I think that's it. I think I've touched on all the comments or questions in one way or another. If I've missed out anything, please type it in. But Emmanuel, I'm here.
I
And
think I think yeah, you've done more than just enough. And these are some of the this is the master class. Literally, someone is supposed to pay it for all the insights that you've given us today, but all of these has come for free thanks to your goodwill. And I must say thank you very much again for coming on Tech Rounds. And I assure you, this recording will always be, the replay is always there on our platform, so you can always go back and listen to these sessions whenever you feel that you've lost your path or you're looking for some kind of direction. We have all the insights here. And Mr. Charles, that's how we wrap the first session. So we'll quickly go to the up and close segment where we just know a few things about you and the things you do. So I hope you're ready, though.
I guess I'm here. I would say I'm on the hot seat, and thank you for having me on the program.
All right, all right, all right. That's cool. All right. So The first one would be, I mean, I was tempted to call you a workaholic though, and I think before this session, I was like, okay, it's been very hectic with the Omniverse events, and then you would have wanted some time to unwind and something. So, what are your passion outside of work? When you're not working, you are not doing stuff. So, what other passion do you have?
I like us in circles, but I love to meet people. I love to travel. That's one of my passions. A lot of things really work on that areas of passion and life for me. So I love to swim for recreation and exercise, but I do a lot of trying to count my steps and remaining fit. So these are some of the areas I would say. Come like I love to start things, be it charity, new event, or want to start
Okay.
a new effort or find out people or
All right.
new people, learning new skills, and playing in new areas. So these are some of the ways that I
All
relax.
right. That's
I do enjoy a good movie once in a while. It's likely these days, but yes, and I love
that's
relaxing with
awesome.
my family. Yeah.
All right. All right, great. So another one, this one is very, very I'm tempted to say you are a traditional man, but I'll leave you to answer the question first. So which would you go for, traditional or continental dishes?
Traditional, of course.
You know why I was tempted to already say traditional, because you have a unique way of dressing. I always see with that your Igbo cap and stuff, and it fits well with your brand.
Yeah, I love traditional food any day. Like I tolerate continental dishes, to be frank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's good to know. And the next one would be, which one would you prefer, remote work or on site?
Hybrid.
Okay,
Sometimes I
hybrid.
have the need to connect with people and I love to have
Yeah,
physical meetings. But then I know the convenience of hybrid is so important. There were days when I had interviews like this by having to travel
yeah.
to places like the AIT channels, the radio
Just to
stations.
make it happen.
I've done a bit of that just to make it happen. But we are here today, and we have wide audience as well, without having to do that. So a bit of both is nice. But I would love
That's
to meet
awesome.
you. I would have loved to be on stage with you. Have a few chats before and after this kind of session.
Yeah,
But then, convenience of virtual makes that all the
yeah,
more interesting as well.
yeah. It's okay. Thank you very much. Of course, I would have liked to have that too. And I'll just save the rest for whenever I meet you physically, and then I'll pose the rest of the question. Thank you very much. It's been very wonderful. I think we have some questions still coming up, and we don't have much time again. And of course, I need to also let Mr. Charles go rest and do some other stuff. He's a very busy person. And the only thing I would do, and I would suggest, is that the conversation goes on. Okay, so you can go on the social media platform, and I will just tag Mr. Charles with some of the questions that you have. I see some questions about volunteer, developer, community, and other stuff, and how foreign platforms are having a red flag on Nigerian talent. So I think some of the things that we would answer that on our social media platform. But do well to follow us on all social media platforms, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's the only way you can support us to achieve telling the innovative story of the African ecosystem. So, Mr. Charles, do you have some final words before we actually draw the curtain?
Yeah, I like the one that's been adopted by Isiaka Otun. And I just want to say this to African talent: be very intentional. The world is yours. You are a saving grace to the talent deficit across the world. If you are intentional, you will gain access to everything you want, be it in the skills or work side of things, or be it in the business side. The best businesses have not been built. You can be part of that either as an entrepreneur or as a talent, as a digital or tech talent. This final words also goes to those of us that are from the corporate side. And I want to say that on the corporate side of things, you also need to be very intentional to find it and keep the talents that you desire. And even when they're entrepreneurs or startup founders, you have to be intentional and build win-win relationships to be able to work with them and enable them to grow. If they don't grow, there will be a truncation of how much you can grow or compete on the global arena. Because sometimes talent may be unable to pay as much.
Yeah.
Local organizations may be unable to pay as much than international organizations will pay to local talent. But if you treat them right and create the right environment, first is that
Who
we will
stays?
have more to choose from, but you will also grow and compete better because you will have some loyalty. So I think that this is where I leave this off. And to say that the work that we do, I've mentioned a few organizations. Please check them up, see if there's anything there for you. But we need a lot more quality talent. And thank you so much for having me on this show, Emmanuel. Thank you to the Tech Build
Yeah, thank you very much.
team, the entire build at Tech Build Africa, and to whoever is backstage providing you support and everything. I say thank you for having me. And to the audience, finally, I say thank you for listening.
Yeah, it's thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you. Your final words are just like the words of a wise man. They say, whatever an old man sees, and if you're a young person, no matter the mountain, you understand or see what that man has seen. And that's what you've just done here. I would just crown that by saying, leverage your social media platforms, your digital expression, leverage it very well and do more with it. Just like you said, you have to be very, very intentional too. So intentionality is 100% key for whatever you're looking to drive and achieve. So thank you very much for joining Tech Rounds today. Like I would say, the more value you provide, the more money comes your way. So till next time when we come on Tech Rounds, it's going to be a wonderful conversation. So thank you very much. My name has been and never changed, Emmanuel Amogu. Some people call me the innovation cheerleader, and some other persons call me the digital nomad. So whatever you choose to call me, just know that I am your friend. I am your innovation friend. And thank you very much, Mr. Charles. And this is where we draw the curtains. Till next time. Thank you very much. It's Tech Build Africa all the way.